4 Qassam rockets fired from northern Gaza exploded in southern Israel despite a Palestinian declared ceasefire agreeing to halt all attacks. 1 rocket landed south of Ashkelon and 3 others exploded in open areas in the Ashkelon coastal region on Monday night. One of the rockets caused a brush fire which threatened local greenhouses. Since Sunday night, some 12 rockets have been fired at Israel from Gaza. On Monday, Israel's cabinet voted against launching a large-scale offensive in Gaza in response to over 100 rockets and missiles fired at southern Israel in recent days. 1 Israeli was killed and scores injured. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told his ministers Israel lacks legitimacy to launch an offensive in Gaza. Explaining his decision, Netanyahu said Israel must show restraint, taking into consideration its international isolation, the fact that the Iron Dome missile defense system offers only a partial response, and fears of worsening the diplomatic crisis with Egypt. An American congresswoman warned Washington will cut $2 billion in aid to Egypt if it backs out of the peace treaty with Israel. The United States aid to Egypt is predicated on the peace treaty between Egypt and Israel, and so the relationship between Egypt and Israel is extremely important, Congresswoman Kay Granger, who chairs the U.S. House Appropriation Foreign Operations Subcommittee, said Monday. Since the 1979 peace treaty between Israel and Egypt was signed, Cairo receives $2 billion annually from Washington and an additional $1.3 billion in military assistance. Granger warned that Washington would suspend some $500 million of U.S. aid to the Palestinian Authority if it goes ahead with its statehood bid at the United Nations. Granger, who is visiting Israel with a delegation of 25 Republican congressmen sponsored by the American Israel Educational Foundation, is scheduled to meet Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas on Wednesday. If the PA goes ahead with its unilateral statehood bid, U.S. aid will be suspended, including money for Palestinian security training, she said. The Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt has threatened to kill Israel's ambassador if he does not leave the country. The political extremist group has been leading the wave of protests outside Israel's embassy in Cairo in recent days, where protesters have called to end the peace treaty with Israel and expel Israel's ambassadors there. At the request of the protesters, Egyptian security forces guarding the house of Israel's ambassador in Cairo's Mahdi neighborhood agreed to remove the flag of Israel from the building, an Egyptian daily reported. On Monday, Egyptian security forces prevented angry protesters from reaching the embassy building, but a firebomb was thrown at one of the embassy's windows. Violent protests erupted in the Egyptian capital following Thursday's terror attack in which 8 Israelis were killed and 5 members of Egypt's security forces who were killed in a firefight with Israeli soldiers. Israel has expressed regret over the incident and said it welcomes a joint investigation by both countries into the Egyptians' deaths. The doctor of former al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden has been conducting military drills south of El Arish in the Sinai Peninsula. The Egyptian daily Al-Masri Al-Yum said Ramzi Mouafi, who escaped from an Egyptian prison during the anti-regime protests in Egypt earlier in the year, held military exercises with some 40 armed men. The newspaper said 13 four-wheel drive vehicles, of which 4 contained anti-aircraft guns, also participated in the maneuvers. An unnamed eyewitness told the newspaper he saw 15 gunmen carrying machine guns and sophisticated binoculars. Egyptian security forces said they were aware of a number of extremist groups operating in the area, and said hundreds of gunmen entered Sinai after they received orders in March this year to turn Sinai into an Islamic state. Egyptian security officials said there were some 7 camps training terrorists in Sinai and said they would soon be arrested. Thomas Murray, an international rating agency which rates over 130 security depositories and other financial entities worldwide, announced it is upgrading its rating of the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange clearinghouse from A to A+. In a published statement, the rating company cited improvements instituted by the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange clearinghouse as the main reason for the upgrade. These improvements lower the risk to which investors and other participants in the Israeli capital market are exposed. The updated A+ Central Security Depository rating indicates a low overall risk profile and places Tel Aviv Stock Exchange Clearinghouse among the leading clearinghouses worldwide. In addition to the upgrade, Thomas Murray granted the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange Clearinghouse a forecast of steady, indicating that the rating will probably not decline in the near future.